Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to try and unravel this huge web of interconnected global conflicts. It all kicks off in the Middle East, but you'll see how the shock waves from this one spot are spreading all the way from Europe to Asia. It's like a chain reaction.
So you've got tensions with Iran just skyrocketing, right? Talks have completely broken down, and in the middle of all this, then President Trump comes out with this pretty surreal claim. He's basically suggesting, hey, this is going to be an easy, quick win for the US.
But is it really that simple? Let's dig a little deeper, because the reality on the ground, it's way more complex and honestly, a lot more dangerous than what you might hear in a press conference. Okay, this is the first domino to fall. This direct collision course between America and Iran. You've got the US hoping for a quick end to all this, but Iran, they're not just rejecting talks, they're actually stepping up their attacks on US and Israeli targets all over the region. And this is where you can really see the massive gap, right? On one hand, you have rhetoric about a quick victory ending the war in weeks. On the other, Iran is digging in, preparing for a long, hard fight. It's this disconnect, this chasm between the words and the actions, that's where things get really, really risky. So where is all this heading? Well, intelligence reports are pointing to one specific spot. A tiny, but believe me, absolutely critical piece of land for Iran. We're talking about Karg Island, right there in the Persian Gulf.
Why this little island? Well, look at that number. 90%? This place is the absolute linchpin of Iran's whole economy. Almost all of their crude oil, 90% of it, flows through this one terminal. If you take that out, it's not just a blow, it's a devastating, crippling blow.
But don't think for a second Iran is just sitting back and waiting. No way. They've turned this island into a fortress. We're talking naval sea mines, advanced air defense systems, the whole shebang. And they've put out a very clear, very blunt warning to all their neighbors. If you help the US attack us, we're coming after you. The message couldn't be clearer. If you come for this island, it is going to cost you a lot.
Okay, so you see the direct standoff. But this isn't happening in a vacuum. This conflict is starting to spill over its borders, and it's turning the whole Middle East into a much bigger, much more unpredictable battlefield.
And to get why this is such a big deal for the whole world, you've got to understand this idea of a strategic choke point. Just think of it like a major highway that narrows down to a single lane. It's a bottleneck for global shipping. If you can control that bottleneck, you basically control the flow of, well, almost everything, especially oil.
And this right here shows you the nightmare scenario. Iran already has a grip on the Strait of Hormuz, and that alone is sending oil prices through the roof. But now their Houthi allies are threatening the other major choke point, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. If they shut that down, you can basically say goodbye to the Suez Canal route. It's a double blow that would just cripple global trade. We're talking oil, gas, food, you name it.
So while everyone is watching the US and Iran play this high-stakes game of chicken, something else is happening. Israel is using this distraction to make some really aggressive, really significant moves on its northern border with Lebanon. And this isn't a small incursion. We're talking about a 30-kilometer push deep into southern Lebanon. A push that's displaced, get this, over 1 million people. And it's brought Israeli forces all the way to the Litani River, which is a major strategic goal.
And you have to understand, this isn't being sold as some temporary military operation, no. You have top Israeli officials, like the finance minister, saying it out loud. Southern Lebanon is now a part of Israel. They're basically tearing up the old 1949 agreement that set the border and saying, this is ours now.
Okay, and here's where we see the dominoes really start to topple and spread. We're about to connect the dots from the Middle East directly to the war on Europe. This is where it goes truly global. So think about it. The US is now massively distracted. Attention, money, military hardware, it's all getting pulled towards Iran. Because of that, the Trump administration is turning up the heat on Ukraine, trying to push them into a new deal to end the war with Russia.
But just look at what's on the table. The deal is basically this. Ukraine gives up the entire Donbass region to Russia, for good. And what do they get in return? These vague, strong security guarantees. So you can see why Kyiv is pushing back hard. It feels a lot like trading a huge chunk of your country for what could just be empty promises.
So you've got this intense diplomatic pressure building, right? And then bam, the military situation just takes this terrifying leap. A Russian drone doesn't just get close, it reportedly crosses the border into Estonia and hits a power station. And here's the key, Estonia is a NATO nation. Why does that matter so much? Because of one thing, NATO's Article 5. It's the core principle of the alliance. An attack on one is an attack on all. So this isn't just a Russian drone hitting Estonia. In the eyes of NATO, it's an attack on the US, on the UK, on France, on all of them. This one single event puts a direct war between Russia and all of NATO squarely on the table. And the instability just keeps spreading, like a virus. All this global chaos is pouring gasoline on other fires that have been smoldering for years. Case in point, the border dispute between Pakistan and Afghanistan is flaring up again, and it's getting ugly.
You know, they just had a ceasefire. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Qatar helped broker it for the Eid holiday. It lasted barely a week, and then it completely fell apart. Heavy shelling started up again, civilians were killed, outposts destroyed, and of course both sides are blaming each other. Peace was incredibly fragile, and now it's gone.
Okay, so after all of that, all this modern-day conflict, let's just take a breath. Let's step way back for a second, because an amazing discovery in Egypt gives us a totally different lens to look at how people connect across these exact same parts of the world.
Check this out. Researchers have found proof, actual proof, that almost 2,000 years ago, travelers from India were journeying all the way to Egypt. And they weren't there for war or for trade. They were tourists. They were crossing the sea and the desert just to go sightseeing at the famous Valley of the Kings.
And one of these guys, Sakai Karan, he left behind what is basically the 2,000-year-old version of a travel post on social media. He carved a simple message in his own language in 5 different tombs. All it says is, Sakai Karan came here and saw this. I mean, how human is that? I was here, I saw this.
And that just leaves you with this incredible contrast, doesn't it? Everything we've talked about today is a world of falling dominoes, of conflict in one place sparking fire somewhere else, all driven by power and politics. And yet, here's this simple message from 2,000 years ago, reminding us that people have always been driven to cross these same lands, just out of pure curiosity. It really makes you wonder, in another 2,000 years, when people look back at us, what will our messages be? Will they only find the stories of our conflicts, or will they find signs that we were curious, that we wanted to connect too?